What if I told you that one of the most revealing political moments of this entire year didn't happen in Parliament, didn't come from a podium, and didn't involve a single policy announcement at all? It happened beside a crackling campfire on a cold Canadian evening, with kids bundled in winter coats, parents chatting quietly, and marshmallows slowly turning golden over open flames. And right there, without ceremony or spectacle, stood Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, laughing with children, teasing them about sugar rushes, and handing out marshmallows like he was just another parent at a community bonfire. And here's the thing. That moment says more about leadership, connection, and the direction Canada is heading than 1,000 carefully worded speeches ever could. Because nothing about this felt staged. There was no dramatic entrance, no press-style performance, no attempt to dominate the space. Carney wasn't delivering lines or selling an agenda. He was simply present, human, warm. He joked about losing his eyebrows by the end of the night. He asked kids if they'd already had marshmallows. He made sure everyone was warm. He laughed easily, the kind of laugh you don't rehearse, and Canadians felt it immediately. Let's start with something most people overlook. In politics, especially right now, relatability isn't about optics anymore. People can smell fake warmth from a mile away. We've all seen the awkward photo ops, the forced smiles, the look how normal I am moments that somehow feel anything but normal. This wasn't that. This was a leader stepping into a shared space and not changing the temperature of the room. If anything, he lowered the walls. At Fallowfield Tree Farm, surrounded by families and children, with the smell of campfire smoke drifting through the cold air, Carney wasn't trying to convince anyone of anything. He wasn't explaining policy. He wasn't defending decisions. He was just there, talking to people like people. And that's exactly why this landed the way it did. You don't have to take my word for it. The reaction online tells the story far better than any commentator could. One comment under the video simply said, "Nice to see Canada has a normal human being as a PM." And that line stuck with me because notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't praise his resume. It doesn't mention his experience, his intelligence, or his global standing. It celebrates something far simpler, normal, human. After years of political tension, economic anxiety, global instability, and non-stop outrage cycles, that simplicity suddenly feels powerful. People aren't just looking for someone smart. They're looking for someone who feels real. Another viewer wrote, "I love that his smile and laugh are genuine and good-natured. The world needs more kindness." That's not a policy endorsement. That's a character assessment. It's about emotional authenticity. About someone who doesn't look like they're acting their way through public life. Here's why that matters. Leadership isn't only about decisions made behind closed doors. It's about how people feel when they see you. Whether they relax or brace themselves. Whether they feel included or talked down to. Whether they feel seen or managed. And Canadians, from the reactions pouring in, feel seen. One comment went even further, tying this small, human moment to something much bigger. The viewer thanked Carney not just for the marshmallows, but for how he treated Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during his visit to Canada. That connection is important. People aren't separating Carney the human from Carney the leader. They're seeing continuity, the same respect, the same warmth, the same lack of ego. Kindness, when it's real, isn't situational. It doesn't switch on and off depending on the audience. It shows up everywhere. And then there was a comment that honestly stopped me for a second. Someone wrote, "I usually don't feel very connected to any of our politicians, but Carney is new to politics, and that makes all the difference. He's a people person with a great sense of humor, highly intelligent, dedicated to making Canada great. I not only respect him, I revere him." Revere is a strong word. That's not casual approval. That's trust. That's emotional investment. That's someone saying, "I believe in this person." And the comment didn't end there. They wished a happy new year, not just to Mark Carney, but to his wife Diana. Because again, Canadians aren't just seeing an office holder. They're seeing a family. They're seeing decency, stability, and humanity reflected outward. Now here's where things get interesting. When you place this moment against the global political landscape, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. On one side, you have Mark Carney, calm, composed, approachable. A leader whose influence is growing not through volume or intimidation, but through trust and emotional intelligence. Someone who builds credibility quietly by showing up the same way everywhere. On the other side, you have figures like Donald Trump, A leadership style rooted in dominance, conflict, and constant escalation. A presence that often tightens rooms instead of easing them. A political brand that thrives on outrage rather than reassurance. While Carney spends time connecting with families, laughing with children, and building warmth around a literal fire, Trump's public presence is often about finding enemies, stoking resentment, and framing relationships as battles to be won. Even allies feel the strain. Canada has felt it. From the reactions I've seen, people aren't just comparing policies anymore. They're comparing how leaders make them feel. And emotionally, the difference is stark. Carney's approval continues to rise. Canada's global reputation feels steadier, calmer, more respected. International leaders listen to him not just because of his economic background, but because he brings something rare to the table: emotional maturity. Meanwhile, Trump increasingly finds himself isolated, resisted, and viewed as unpredictable. His style exhausts people. It hardens conversations. It drains optimism. Carney does the opposite. He lowers the temperature. He restores faith. He reminds people that leadership doesn't have to feel like constant conflict. Here's the part most people misunderstand. This isn't about marshmallows. It's about presence. Leadership isn't just what you say. It's the energy you bring into shared spaces. With Trump, rooms often brace for impact. With Carney, rooms seem to breathe a little easier. With Trump, allies prepare for confrontation. With Carney, partners prepare for collaboration. That's why this moment matters more than it first appears. Some critics will brush it off. They'll say it's just a Christmas outing, just a feel-good clip, just optics. But those criticisms miss the point entirely. Because moments like this don't create leadership, they reveal it. A leader who can kneel down to a child's level without looking uncomfortable. A prime minister who can laugh at himself, who doesn't need to dominate every interaction, who understands that respect isn't demanded, it's earned quietly. That's the kind of leader people remember. That's the kind of leader people trust. And this wasn't an isolated incident. That's the real twist. Over the past year, Canadians have seen this pattern repeat itself again and again. Carney volunteering during the holidays, not rushing through photo ops, but staying, talking, thanking people. Addressing Canadian soldiers with genuine respect, not distant rhetoric. Comforting communities during difficult moments by listening more than speaking. Showing firmness when needed, softness when appropriate, and humanity at all times. When Zelensky visited Canada, the interaction wasn't stiff or transactional. It was dignified, warm, respectful. Global leaders don't just respect Carney's intellect, they respect his character, and that consistency matters, because it tells people this isn't an act. He doesn't switch personas depending on the setting. He doesn't perform relatability. He lives it. So when you watch that video of Mark Carney standing by a glowing fire, handing marshmallows to kids, laughing like a neighbor instead of a politician, understand what you're really seeing. You're seeing trust being built in real time. You're seeing leadership that understands politics is ultimately about people, not just power. Sometimes leadership doesn't look like commanding a room. Sometimes it looks like standing in the cold with everyone else, holding a stick over a fire, making sure the kids go first, and laughing along the way.
Burning it.
No, it's good.
Oh,
Everett. Great, nice to meet you. Hi, Greg. How are you? Hi. Good morning. Morning. I met you. You've grown a lot. Nice to see you. You're just the same. Have you already roasted marshmallows? And I saw a sign for free hot chocolate. I'm not trying to push it. You've got some serious coals here, though.
if you want another one, go ahead.
I'll take one last one. Yep.
Okay.
Who wants one? You want me to make you one? It always happens at Christmas. You get too much sugar, you're bouncing off the walls. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. As promised. I promised you. Yeah. You're welcome.
You're done?
Yep, I'm done.
All right.
I don't have any eyebrows left, but.
If Canada has felt tired, divided, or emotionally worn down in recent years, moments like this matter. They remind us that kindness can still exist in power, that empathy doesn't disappear at the top, that a prime minister can feel like part of the community instead of above it. And judging by the reaction from Canadians, Mark Carney isn't just lighting a campfire. He's lighting something much deeper. If moments like this resonate with you and you want to keep exploring the human side of leadership and Canada's story, consider subscribing. I appreciate you.